Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the D-Art Wild Arms 2 Night Blazer, which I know nothing about other than it's a cool character design, and somebody sent this to me so that I could review it and then send it back. I don't get to keep it, just for the record. A lot of people ask me that. Do I get to keep what I review? Mostly because I buy what I review, but sometimes people send me stuff just so I can review it. Anyway, that's what this is. So I don't know anything about the characters. So you guys are going to have to judge the likeness for yourself. All I can do is judge the figure on its own merits. So that's what I'm going to do. Now you can see the packaging back there. It's kind of cool. Very reminiscent of the old D-Arts packaging, which is now absorbed by SH Figuarts, for those of you that aren't familiar. Anyway, this guy looks really cool. He's mostly just black and red, but we have some variation in the reds, and there's a little bit of silver on him, and he has a nice cool scarf thing, so that's nice. He has some cool accessories. Not a whole lot of paint to talk about, but what is painted does look good. It's mostly that metallic red you can see on the forearms and on the head and chest. A little bit on the feet. And then we have that more standard red throughout the shoulders and hips. So looks very cool. The rest is almost completely just molded black, which is fine. It looks like it suits him just fine. We do have some molded red and painted red, and then some shading painted on for that scarf. So that's a pretty cool feature also. Let's get him off the stand so we can take a closer look. Okay, so this guy's not the biggest figure in the world. He only stands about 14.5 centimeters, and that's actually with his one leg sticking down a little bit, so he's not even quite that tall. He's only about 5.5 inches. Relatively short, definitely from the earlier days of the D-Arts, SH Figuarts, and they weren't quite as large as they are now, but still very cool looking figure. Oh, there's some white on there also. I didn't notice that. There is some white on his back. That's kind of cool looking. Alright, so again, the paintwork that is there is pretty good. It's just there's not a whole lot of it. He does have some cool accessories, so let's take a look at those. First, though, he has fist hands that come on him in the package. So we have those. And then we also have some style pose hands, one for each side. Zoom in a little bit so you can see. So we have the hands are sculpted really well, by the way. Lots of detail on there. So we have these cool style pose hands. Then we have these kind of loose gripping hands. And then we have these normal gripping hands. And I'll show you what he grips in just a second. So we have those. And then we have this chest piece, which apparently his armor opens up and he has some more organic looking chest with a silver thing in the middle and some white spots, and it opens up. So you can interchange the chest pieces. I haven't really had much luck getting this off yet, and since it's not my figure, I don't really want to risk breaking it. I'll try to for the photos. I'll not try to break it. I'll try to take it apart for the photos so that I can show you what it looks like with this piece on instead, but I can't promise it. It is one of the downsides of reviewing other people's figures. I can't risk damage. And then he has this lightsaber, which is really cool. It's a blue lightsaber, which is not that common. Dark blue, nice translucent plastic, nice black handle, and it looks cool with the figure. So we have that. And then lastly, we have this rock base accessory with some pegs on it so that you can put him on the stand and make him look like that, which I guess is like an iconic pose for him. I don't know, but you can do that with that display stand. So that's what that's for. And, oh, I want to point out, so the cape is articulated, and I'll show you that when I go through articulation, but it's particularly heavy for such a small figure. There's no way you can do this pose without him being propped up somehow. No way. This could work because he pegs into the base and that'll hold him, but the cape is way too heavy to do that. Alright, so let's run through the articulation. I'm going to do it as best I can because, like I said, I can't really stress too much on this figure, and I hope I can just figure out what the articulation is by looking at it. As we're doing it, I want to point out he does have his eyes silver in there. The silver eyes are painted in there. Just kind of hard to notice. The head is on the kind of joint you might expect, but it doesn't want to pop off, and I can't risk it. So it's at least a double ball peg on top of the neck. It could be the standard D-Arts Figuarts ball hinge. Hard to say. The neck is on a ball peg at least, single ball peg. What's important though is you'll be able to move the head however you want. It is somewhat limited just due to the sculpt of the helmet and this being back here, so it can't look straight up obviously. Shoulder pads are hinged on their own, so that's a good thing. They won't get in the way at all. The shoulders themselves are connected to a really large ball peg that pegs into the torso, so that lets the entire arm move around like this, and then the shoulder can move on top of that, and we have our hinge. So full range of motion for the arm, no issue at all. And I want to point out the shoulder pad, though it's individually hinged, it is connected to the shoulder, which means you can really move the arm anywhere you want to, and it's not going to be a problem. More companies need to do that. When you connect the shoulder pad to the torso, it really limits the arm. This is exactly how it should be done, so that's very good. We have our bicep swivel in here, standard bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, which gives us really good range of motion. Not the best looking joint, but it's not bad, so that's pretty good. And then for the wrist, this is a loose piece. It just kind of floats there. So you're going to have to line that up with the hand as best you can. But the wrist is on, let's pull it off so I can just show you. The wrist is on, well, I guess that doesn't actually come off, so that's good. A ball hinge. So pretty much your standard ball hinge. The good thing about this is the hands have straight pegs that hold them on, so there's no real risk of breaking anything when you pull the hands off to change them, so that's really good. Now, I'm not sure what we have in here. I think it's a double ball peg at the top and a single ball peg at the bottom. That's what it feels like, but regardless, you're going to have really good range of motion either way, so no worries there. Everything moves around really well. The hip pieces have hinges on them so they don't get in the way, and the hips do have that drop-down hip articulation that you're familiar with Kamen Riders or the Dragon Ball figures, or most of the Figure Arts figures. We have that hinged ball peg, so we can move those around pretty well. Really good range of motion. It's a little stiff right now just because it's never been out of the package before, but it works really well. And we have our thigh swivel in there. We have a double jointed knee that works really well and looks pretty good. And then for our ankles, we have a ball hinge. It's kind of an awkward looking ball hinge, but it is there. So you get your hinge out of it. Not the best range though. And you get your ankle rocker. So it's pretty good. Now these guys are a little bit too floaty for my liking. They don't ever want to stay in place. So that's a bit of a problem. But otherwise, it's a really solid figure. The cape does have a ball hinge. You have to peg that in yourself, and it doesn't really want to go in, and it feels like I'm going to break it every time I move it. So use a little bit of caution when you're dealing with the cape. And also, like I said, it's particularly heavy, so you're going to have trouble balancing him pretty much with that cape at all. So you're going to want to use a display stand, most likely. So there it is. It's a really cool figure. I don't know if they're expensive now or not expensive, but if they're not super expensive and you like the character, I'd say go ahead and grab it. It's a pretty cool figure. If they are super expensive, then maybe not, because it does have enough of some minor issues to really make it not probably worth a really high price point. So you're going to have to use some judgment there. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you stick around for the photos at the end, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.